Hi guys, today we're doing ISO circles. I have drawing number 522 up on my screen. I've also included a couple hidden lines. This sort of helps to see what the object would look like on a couple different faces so that you can kind of see the background, the sort of skeleton of this object. Just for the sake of drawing the circles, just so you can kind of visualize what it would look like. ISO circles are a little bit tricky. They're kind of difficult to get started. There's a couple of little tools here that you need to make sure are turned on. The first one being this grid snap. This makes sure that you can snap to an isometric plane. You can also go and look and make sure that you have it set to isometric snap rather than rectangular snap, which we've already done just by turning that on. We also have our isometric drafting planes turned on. That's that cursor that allows us to change it by selecting F5. This becomes rather valuable in doing this drawing. So to get started, we want to make sure that we start with the center points of the circles. So I'm going to select my line command, and I'm going to come over, I believe it is 15 or 25, and then intersect there, and then it should be the center of this. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here. Just get the center points of my circles already laid out. Makes this really easy to get going. 20, 20, 30, 30. And then we would just want to make sure that we get those intersecting with our center circles, our center lines for our circles. We'll do the same thing up. So be right in the center here. We're going to go to the center of that line. And then it is the center all around as well. So those are our center lines for our circles. There's a couple ways to do this. I would recommend getting used to using your key commands, typing L for line, C for circle. This just kind of increases your efficiency. One of the commands that we are going to use is the ellipse command, but this gets a little touchy. There's one way to use, or well, there's two different ways to go about using this. The easiest, I feel, is typing EL for ellipse, and then you want to specify what type of ellipse you want to use. So you can see there's that little down arrow command. So if I click the down arrow and I go to ISO circle, it's as easy as that. Selecting this and then making sure that we get it in the right plane. You can see that circle doesn't really fill the space like it's supposed to. It doesn't look right for being on the top. So if we function 5, we can kind of change this around. And you can see now that my cursor has changed its directions. Now that the cursor is parallel to the two axes that it intersects with, that's the one I want to use. So now I just type in the radius of the circle. On our document it says a diameter of 30. Obviously radius would then be 15. So I'm just going to type that in and it goes right to the scale. So next thing I want to do is develop the thickness of my object. So I'm going to come down. The thickness there is 15 because I want to draw the back side of this hole. So we want to go to our ellipse command, and this is the other way to go and open this up. You don't want to select a center ellipse, you want an axis and end ellipse. You then down arrow, you have to do this every time. It's a little bit taxing, but that's just one of the things you have to do every time. You have to down arrow to the ISO circle. 15 is, again, our radius. Go to the command again. And you have to down arrow. Even I have to get used to doing that. And I don't know how many times I'm going to do the same thing. The radius of this is 10. Let's type that in. We're then going to do the line down. The thickness of the material is also 10. And then instead of going in reinventing the wheel every time, we can just copy, select the center point of the circle as our base point, and just paste that over. If you want to save a little time down the road, I can show you what what I mean by that. We have to go and trim these anyway, and I always like to just select what I'm going to trim. So because I'm using the circle, and actually I only would need to select this circle here, and then I can trim the outside of that. That shows that back profile of that hole. So now I can go and select both of those and copy them, and I don't have to go and trim quite so much in the future. Saves a little bit of time, a little bit of headache. Okay, same thing up here. We go and trim that. Simple as that. Now we need to do this backside. So I'm going to go to my ISO circle command, select the center point. Now again, this is not what that circle should look like. If I go down here to where that should intersect, you see how the two axes on that cursor do not intersect with, or are not parallel to the two axes on the plane. So I'm going to use function 5 or F5 on your keyboard, and you can see it just took one keystroke to get that changed. See how now the red intersects with or is parallel to the line here, and the green is then vertical. So the radius of this is then 15. Same as we did last time. This time it's 10 in thickness. And you want to make sure that you snap on the right axes. And ISO circle. Select our circle and trim, and we're going to select off this side. Okay, then you can go back, and you don't need all of those extra lines. And to show you what the final product looks like, it looks something like this. So I just cleared up, got rid of all the hidden lines. Make sure that you have this little line here that signifies that back side of this surface, because that would be going through there, and you would see just a small piece of that through that circle. So you want to make sure that that stays there as well. This video will stay up on my website and Google Classroom as long as it can. You can frequent it as many times as you'd like to get these circles correct. Just make sure you're taking the time. And it actually looks like there's a small piece right in here that also intersects in that circle. So that would also be visible. It isn't on this one, but that would be correct. There's another tool here that you can use. You can see how my circles sometimes get a little octagon-y, right, for lack of a better word. They have some flat edges. That's part of the rendering process. So if we type in a command regen, R-E-G-N, it will cause that circle to regenerate and be more circular instead of having all of those flat edges. So there it is, guys. Check it out. Spend some time working on that, and have a good rest of the day.